Hey, what's up, people? This is Peter from Peter Stanley Space, and this is a review of the movie The Woman King. So, without wasting much of your time, let's get straight into it. So, I decided to watch The Woman King over the weekend, and here's a couple of things that I actually learned from the movie. First of all, the movie this is now something you really have to do before you go and watch the movie because a lot of people actually think that the movie is like, how do I put it? That the movie is like a documentary or it's like a real life scenario played out in a film. No, 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 no. There's something you have to understand about the movie and some things you really have to, put in perspective before you watch the movie. So, the first thing is the movie is loosely centered around um, you know, something that is factual, but the characters in the movie have been fictionalized. So, what does that basically mean? I like to call this, style of or this genre of films factual fiction or fictional factual. I don't even know how to put it again. But basically, what it's just saying is that there's a true life story or there's a factual event that we all know is factual, right? Then we insert, a fictional character in that factual timeline. So how does this, come into reality with the Woman King? So the Dahomey Kingdom is factual. The agojie warriors or the Dahomey Amazons are factual. They existed. They are women that fought, you know, and protected the kingdom of Dahomey. But the character of Nanisca is fictional, and everything that happens around that character is fictional. So it's basically more or less like you put a story inside something that actually happened. Say, for example, also there's the 9/11, terror attacks in the USA is a factual event, and then after the attacks, there's been so many Hollywood movies around 9/11, and people, so they basically create a character of someone that was in the building, blah blah blah, the husband, all of that stuff. So that's exactly what it's like. So there is a factual event that actually happened, and then they put, a fictional character as the center of that play. So that's something you have to first understand. Don't go to the cinema thinking you're going to watch, a documentary or an history of the women that used to fight in the boring Benin Republic. That's not what the movie is about. So going into the technicalities right now, the movie is actually, I would give it a very good 8 over 10. And 8 over 10 when I'm rating movies is going to be always, it's just always like at the top of it. Why do I give it an 8 over 10? The first thing that is actually very unique about the movie is that the costumes, they are quite unique. They are quite, on point. They did a lot of research to try and make it match up with, you know, what the actual agojie warriors used to wear back then. But some things were also missed. For example, when you look at the costume of the Oyo guys or the guys from Oyo Kingdom, we were not really turban people as Yorubas. So I mean, we don't have the old turban and covering our mouths with clothes. That's not something the Oyo, Baloguns would do back then. That was more or less like a Fulani thingy. But they depicted the Oyo, warriors having turbans on their heads and all of that stuff. If that was for artistic purposes, quite understood. But was that factual with what we used to wear? No, that was actually it. Number two, one thing the movie also got correct was the editing. I so much loved the edits. I loved everything about the editing. It felt immersive. It felt like I was watching it on the stage play compared to me watching a movie. It felt like I was actually there, and then it's a stage production, and then the sound effects and everything literally matched. So it was a very good production all around. Very, very beautiful production. I love the setting. I love the King's Palace. I just everything about the movie was pretty good. Although there were some things that was not so good, which we also talk about. But on a scale of 1 to 10, for me, the movie is an 8. The movie is, a huge 8. What are the things that I don't like about the movie? Now, this has to come to the top of it because I see Hollywood make this mistake a lot. When they're shooting films around Africa, let's say Nigeria or Yoruba or Ghana, they try to create this accent, to show that okay, these are the people over here speak their English, but it's not always correct. At some point, I was even wondering if they were speaking French because I couldn't get what the characters were saying until maybe like after 2 or 3 sentences because the accents and the intonation they were trying to give the English was just not matching what you'd expect. Remind you, this is the Dahomey Kingdom and this is 18 something. Many people are not speaking English. So, but for commercial purposes, you can't have the movie in, Dahomey language and all of that stuff. But I still expected them to give a better representation of the intonation of, Yoruba speakers like the Oyo Empire kingdoms and all of that. This should have actually been, a lot of Nigerian characters. Although I believe the Balogun is Nigerian PJ, but there should really have been people who were Nigerian, born and bred Nigerian actors. If you ask me, a Nigerian actor that fits that role, and this is something I always say to everyone when I'm talking about Yoruba actors that I think should go global, is Ibrahim Chata. He would have killed that Balogun and he would have spoken with that Yoruba accent, that Oyo accent. So that was something I think they really missed on the Woman King. Another thing they actually missed that's also concerning the whole Oyo Kingdom and all of that stuff was I was expecting a bit of Yoruba, even if it was between the soldiers themselves, more or less. Maybe after the conversations, you hear something like "Abaole mu asere ni." King Gezo. This you basically get what I'm trying to say, because the Oyos were Yorubas, the Dahomes are Benins, even though like they're in present day Benin Kingdom, Benin Republic rather, not to be confused with Benin City in Lagos in Nigeria. But the truth of the matter is, this people are Yorubas, so I was expecting the Oyo Kingdom soldiers and all to have a couple of Yoruba chit chats among themselves just for fun, and the Dahomes to have a couple of local dialect amongst themselves just for fun. And as a linguist, I categorically can tell you that even in present day Benin Republic, there is Yoruba language speakers over there because who are Egun and who by virtue of their fish trade market into Lagos have picked up Yoruba and all of that stuff. So even Angelique Kidjo, who starred in the movie as a chief, speaks fluent Yoruba. So there was, from me, I was expecting to hear some native language being passed around just between the cast and the crew, the king and his servants once in a while, not too much. But you can also understand that majority of the cast that took these roles were not, people from that region, and they may not be able to speak they will not be able to speak such, language fluently. And probably that was why they just omitted it, all in all. But overall, it's an 8/10 movie. Should you see it? Yes, but I will give you a warning. I mean, I think it's rated 15, but I think it should be rated 18 because there's a lot of throat slitting and fire and tricking eye inside person and all of that stuff. You really shouldn't take your kids to watch The Woman King. It's not meant for them. Not at all. Don't take your children to the cinema to watch it. Let them watch maybe Gru, The Rise of Gru or something, but not that. Or some other comedy or some other, cartoon out there. But they shouldn't watch Woman King. No. So what basically can you take from this? One, it is not a documentary, it's not a direct representation of something that happened in ancient Dahomey Kingdom. Two, the movie is good. It's extremely good. It's so loving. It's so great. The editing is perfect. The color grading, the CGI. You won't even know that it's CGI. Even though that I'm a filmmaker, I wouldn't have been able to. So several people watch that movie and they wouldn't know that some things were, generated all that stuff because it was really good. It was really, really good. The accent would have been better. That's my own personal point of view. The characters could have shared a couple of local dialects, conversations between one another, one another. I beg your pardon, as just side talk and all that stuff. And it's gory, so don't take your kids to see it. And on that note, guys, I'm gonna go off because I think the rain is coming, so I can't really talk much again. Really, really hope to see you guys. Watch The Woman King and just have a good time. And until I see you again, go be.